What's up, movie lover badasses? Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood, and today we got a little discussione going on. A little discussion, a little retrospective. Let's go down nostalgia lane a little bit with the X-Men films.
Yeah, because, we could have done this a couple weeks ago in better planning, but, we figured now's as good a time as any. The day that
Yeah.
X-Men Apocalypse
Yeah,
is
fuck it.
released in the States. Why not?
Fuck it.
We wanted to, do a video
Yeah.
of some kind to talk about our relationship with the tumultuous franchise as it is. So, yeah. What
How
was...
how did you get started enjoying or getting into the lore of X-Men?
What's really funny is because I was a bat freak, and I do very distinctly remember we were walking to a museum at a field trip one day, and I remember these little boys were talking about, oh, the X-Men cartoon and Storm is so awesome and da da da, but I never saw it.
Yeah.
And it was not until the first movie came out and Fox Kids started playing reruns of
Yeah.
the old cartoon where I started watching the cartoon. I'm like, oh, this is kind of okay. I'm old, but hey, I still watch cartoons. Shut the fuck up. Don't
Yeah.
judge me. Don't you dare judge me. And so, I gave it a shot and I was like, hey, it's not too bad. And for some reason, by the time the movie came out, I still was not going into films. I didn't go to the movies by myself or anything like that. I just remember as soon as the movie came out on DVD, I just bought it.
Yeah.
I liked Patrick Stewart, and that
Right.
was really all I knew.
That's all you
I
needed.
knew who Halle Berry was, but
Yeah.
I didn't know who anybody else was. I hadn't seen Sir Ian McKellen yet.
Right.
So, I bought the movie, and I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I was a little confused why Wolverine was so tall. But, Hugh Jackman, he's
Yeah.
always managed to bring such an earnesty to the role that you never really minded that he's way too tall to play
Right.
Logan, so...
So for me, I grew up reading the comics. I know these are digital, but just representing. You know what I'm saying? Representing the love for the X-Men. You know what I'm saying? So I grew up reading the comics, especially around the Jim Lee's run when Jim Lee was doing the art, and a little bit before that. But I knew of the team. Okay, I knew of the characters. I watched the X-Men cartoon with the most badass theme song ever. Yes. And, I loved it. I loved the cartoon. And I watched it when it aired. Okay? Sorry. But I didn't watch it to the end, though. Something about the Phoenix Saga. Like, I watched everything up to the Phoenix Saga. And then the Phoenix Saga, I kind of lost interest, and I started to watch other shows. But I still had a lot of love for the X-Men cartoon. Still to this day, I still have a lot of love for it. Now, when early pictures and photos for the X-Men film that was supposed to be released in 2000, okay, in the year 2000, sorry, I had to do that. When I saw photos, the first thing I saw was like Patrick Stewart, perfect for Charles Xavier, okay, perfect, Charles, perfect. I was just like, yeah. Was it Famke Jensen, right? She was great in GoldenEye, all right. She being Jean Grey, fine. And then I saw Rogue, and I was just like, was it Anna Paquin? Back in I was just like, okay, they're going the young route, all right. Cyclops looked generic.
Yeah.
But let me get to the meat here, okay? Wolverine was my boy, all right. Wolverine was my boy, all right. And when I saw the photos of Hugh Jackman, I was just kind of like, who the heck is this jobber-looking, skinny, like noodly-looking dude? Like who?
And it's funny, as cut as he was in that one,
Yeah.
damn, that
Yeah.
man, wow.
He's
Over the
noodles.
years- over the years, though, he's,
Well, yeah. Now he's huge, jacked man.
yes.
But at the time, I was just kind of like, I don't know. I'm not digging this. I don't know. Especially Magneto too. Who the fuck is Ian McKellen? Who's this guy? Who's this old, shriveled up looking dude? That's not Magneto that I know, right?
Yeah.
God, I'm just going back and reminiscing on how I looked at things then, and I didn't really have that much of an open mind with cinema as I do now. But that's how I was. I was just like, bleh, 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 right? And then we went to go see the movie. Saw it with a buddy of mine, and in theater. And at first I was kind of like, but By the end of it, Hugh Jackman did a fantastic job as playing Logan, and he had the attitude, he had the personality down, he had the attitude down, and I was just like, okay, all right. By the end of the movie, him fighting Sabretooth on the really fake, bad set looking Statue of Liberty fight with some bad CGI.
Yeah.
By the end, he got the character, and I was just kind of like, all right, I'll forgive it. That wasn't that bad. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, what's funny is looking back at the film 16 years later. Holy fucking shit. The movie, it's a product of its time. You know, I think superhero films, Spider-Man hadn't come out yet. We had just traversed the dark ages of the mid-90s. Blade had already come out, but, you know, I think Blade was more of a cult underground thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's found its audience, but it did not usher in the comic book resurgence the way
Right.
Spider-Man did. And I think X-Men was kind of a necessity because we had to pull out of that crazy goofiness that happened in the mid-90s, even though we stumbled very, very much so along the way in the mid-2000s, and we still stumble now. What are you going to do? Nothing's going to ever be perfect. But the movie is a product of its time, and it's also a product of its budget. And I think the film holds up pretty well, but yeah, you can see that it is low budget,
Yeah.
2000 cinema. And I remember, you know, the black costumes was kind of a cop-out, but
Yeah.
it's like at the same time, we weren't ready for yellow spandex. We weren't ready for the colors. We're still not.
Yeah.
Captain America and the Avengers are trying to pull everybody into come on, we can wear colors. It's okay. Don't be afraid of the colors, you know. And the movie...
They even make fun of it in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you expect, Logan? You yellow spandex?
Yeah. but speaking of it, there is some really nice humor in there.
Yeah.
We got Logan flipping off Cyclops. But it's, you know, the movie, I feel it's a little claustrophobic because of its budget. You feel not green screened in, but you feel it's very enclosed. Like you can't really go out into the world and explore.
Yeah.
And you know, you had the, you know, Rogue.
We had hope at the time.
Oh.
Because it was like, okay, she's young. We're doing the whole origin thing.
And they did a good job.
I'm
giving-
sure by the sequels, she'll be just as badass as she was in the cartoon. She'll have her powers. She'll have the super strength. She'll be flying. She'll be saying sugar. You know, she'll be hotter. I don't know. But, you know, at the time, we let it pass.
There was hope because
Yeah.
they gave her and Logan that really nice relationship.
That was good.
That was a really nice thread, and they brought it back a bit
Yeah.
in the second movie, and even in the third, he gives her some advice that she does not heed. And you know, I think the movie's still pretty watchable. I still enjoy the hell out of it. It's hard to watch only because.
It's old and
Yes.
low budget and, yeah.
Yeah, but overall, the reason to watch is for the two crafty veterans.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, by the way, not just Hugh Jackman won me by the end, but Ian McKellen.
Oh.
Sir Ian McKellen won me by the end of the film, too. I was just like, oh, man, this guy's great.
It doesn't get any
This
better
guy's a great Magneto.
than watching Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen 16 years ago square off as those two legendary characters, and now they have both in real life given us a plethora of manly brotherly love. One of the greatest live bromances we've ever seen. Those two, I love those two off screen. Oh my god, I just want to just can I live with you guys for a while? Oh, it's adorable.
Singer did a good job. For somebody especially didn't really know the lore and wasn't really, you know, well versed
Yeah.
in the universe for first time. I mean, he only really had two movies. He had Apt Pupil, where he previously worked with Ian McKellen, and then he had the really critically acclaimed Usual Suspects. That was about it, really, of note to mention. That's about all he had right before he did X-Men. So, you know, not too bad, not too shabby.
Yeah.
Now, all right, X2. That's right. Saw that in the theater.
With I think we were already dating at the time, so I
Yes.
believe I saw it with you.
Yes.
I was more going out into the world and watching movies a lot more. And once again, it is helmed by Bryan Singer. And I gotta admit, I still love the hell out of this one.
Yeah, it completely crushed the first film.
Well, it did what you want a sequel
Yeah.
to do. It takes everything that was good about the original, and it just expands on it. We had that fantastic opening sequence with Nightcrawler
Yeah.
in the White House.
Yeah, that's that and the Logan's fight with Kelly Hu, Lady Deathstrike. Those are two of my favorite parts of the film. I mean, but the beginning with the classical music and
Yeah.
Nightcrawler and the special effects. You know, we got a budget now. Yeah, first X-Men did okay, so we got a budget now, and the special effects still look good.
Yeah.
They still look good
Nightcrawler still looks amazing.
for for 2003.
And his makeup looks fantastic. I love how the little tail. He's his tail.
Yeah, he was badass.
My favorite part about Nightcrawler was not only did I enjoy the portrayal, and I felt it captured, from my very little understanding of Kurt Wagner. I loved Alan Cummings' portrayal of him. He had a really nice innocence to him. I loved the very end of the film because he had tried to assassinate the president. And by the end of the movie, they've all, the professor stopped time, and he's telling the president, look, you gotta let them know, you gotta let the people know that there are good mutants out there.
Yeah.
Don't condemn us all because of the actions of some renegades. And the president looks up, and you see Kurt, and he waves at him, and the president's like, and Kurt's like,
He's all freaking out.
little touches like that was just a lot of fun.
X2 definitely really exceeded our expectations at the time.
Introduced me to a composer that I have a love-hate relationship in Mr. John Ottman. I was not overly impressed with his overall score.
Right.
He had replaced Michael Kamen from the first X-Men, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed what Michael Kamen was able to bring to the first the first film. And John Ottman, I've noticed that he excels in individual themes, but his overall theme is a little... But I will say that I was very happy to hear him return in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, we were just kind of like, oh, this theme's a little generic. But when we heard it again in that movie, we were like, yeah. We were like, oh, well, that's nice. All right.
It was nice
Somebody
to hear.
gives a shit.
Yeah.
So, besides, we introduce Iceman and Pyro in this film, right?
Which they
get more to do.
They were very small cameos in the first film. I believe Pyro was played by another
Right.
character, but Iceman has actually been the same actor the whole series, which is
Right.
also really nice to see.
Gave them more to do. He had a little thing going with Rogue.
You gotta have that do Dawson's Creek because it's teenagers.
No.
You gotta do it.
Stop doing that. So,
Why you gotta bring in
whatever.
the kids?
Yeah, I know, damn it.
What are you gonna do?
Anyway, a lot more characters evolving in this film.
Yeah, it seemed like just everything was a natural progression in the movie. The characters were all, growing. Everybody seemed really comfortable in the characters they were portraying. I loved the hint at the potential Phoenix Saga by the end of this one, and it was very sad, but at the same time, there's this really great look at the end where the professor looks out the window and he's seeing the wind rustling through the trees, and on his face at the time, because we didn't know what hell was to befall us later, there's kind of like this look of hope on his face that she might come back to us one day, and it's gonna be okay. I loved the ending on that kind of sad but slightly upbeat, tone that they had. It was just everything you want. And hey, Mystique actually got more than one line this time.
Yeah, which was good. And Jackman finally got to see him, get a little loose a little bit with this one.
He's full animal mode at times in this
Yeah,
film.
like he finally was. He wasn't full Berserker Barrage yet, but I mean, just straight up impaling that guy up against the fridge and screaming. I mean, we were all in the theater like, "Holy shit!" Like, wow, yeah, something.
Really great balance of storytelling and action. Yeah, it's long, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's, good blend of everything.
Disappointing parts of the film.
Once again, Rogue's kind of useless. The big highlight for her is she flies the X-Jet for 2 seconds and then damn near
Yay.
crashes it. She really, once again, is
Yay.
just a useless teenager.
Yeah.
She doesn't really... She grabs Pyro's leg at one point because he's attacking the cops,
Right.
and they tried, but you always just felt like they never knew what to do with this girl, and it's like, dude, Rogue, and
Yeah.
she can fly. She's like really strong. What? I want to get laid, but I can't.
That's not till the next movie.
Oh that she, they were working on that.
Oh,
in the second
that's
one.
right.
They hadn't figured it out yet.
been a while. It's
They
been a while.
They would kiss and I'm gonna kill.
Yeah, she did kiss Bobby,
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
he kind of got fucked up a little bit.
Yeah, it was like, oh shit, gotta calm down. It's
Anyway.
drama.
Yeah. So yeah, again, Rogue was the disappointment. Good thing is Halle Berry said "fuck it" to the African accent that she had kind of had in the first movie.
Half-assed tried to have in the first movie.
Where are you going, Logan?
You can't do this alone.
Call me now, Cleo. I don't know.
One
I don't
of us,
know.
one of us
Sorry.
had to do it.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
either
know.
him or me.
Yeah,
so
I know.
it's all right.
Bad Jamaican African accent, whatever,
Yeah,
whatever the fuck.
whatever she was going for.
Whatever she was going for. Yeah, that just died, so she just said fuck it. But everything else was great. I mean, we were very pleased.
Yeah,
We were very happy when that
and-
movie was over. We were like,
And
yeah.
I think it's safe to say by this time, between the years of 2003 and 2006, you and I were getting more well versed into the behind the scenes stuff, reading
Right.
up into things, hearing things, and we knew something was wrong when a Superman reboot was announced, and suddenly Bryan Singer was attached to it,
Yeah.
and then the next thing you
Thanks,
know,
Brian. Thanks.
and then the next thing you know, Mr. Brett Ratner is slated to direct the third film. Now, my first thought was, why the fuck would you
Yeah.
do that?
Well,
I
remember,
was not completely wrong.
remember, still kind of around that time, he was still a hot property.
I suppose.
I mean, Red Dragon was a well done, decent thriller, and he had the huge, hits that were the Rush Hour 1 and 2.
which I love.
Yeah,
but
we hate 3. 3's a piece of shit.
three didn't happen.
We just had to throw that in there.
Didn't happen.
But those are the only main movies. After the Sunset, I've never seen. But those are some of the main movies, the big ones for him before he took on the role of the director for this third film. Oh,
I gotta
Man.
say right
X-Men:
out
The
of
Last Stand is where we are at now.
right out of the gate, the movie just has this slightly cheap look to it. It's
Which is weird.
Yeah, it's 2006. The budget has been increased. There shouldn't have been any excuses, but it just had this cheapness. It
Yeah.
had this kind of flimsy,
Cheap,
I don't really care.
rushed.
And
Yeah.
I can say, especially now that we have certain hindsight, at first this was the movie that made me give up on the franchise completely. I was like, hey, I really liked the first one. I love the second one. This one broke my damn heart. The only thing that saved it for me personally were the characters, at least the actors were all still there, even
Yeah.
though a lot of them got a big fuck you in right out of the first 5 minutes. Bye, Scott! We don't need you! Have fun in Superman Returns jobbing! Ain't nobody being secondhand fiddle to Superman!
Yeah, that's one.
So, you got that. Mystique, I hope nobody was a Mystique fan, because bye, Mystique! We don't need you as a mutant! You were a useless character anyway, bye! Bye, Professor Xavier! We loved you, but, it's time for you to go, because we have to increase the drama and the stakes in here. And I hope to God none of y'all were a Rogue fan. And
Just killed it.
if you want to get really pissed off, listen to the commentary and listen to the reasons why they had Rogue go off. Now, I know that there were scheduling conflicts, and she had to get written out of the film a lot. And because I think she was doing True Blood at the time. I don't know if that's when True Blood started.
Maybe.
Whatever the case was, she was not able to be in the full film. And so they have her go off and get the cure or whatever. And by the time she comes back, by the end of the theatrical release, she's gotten the cure. Well, there was an alternative cut where she decided not to. She listened to Logan's advice. And it's like, hey, don't do this for a fucking guy, right? Sage advice from old man Uncle Logan over here. And
this was all filmed and ready to go. Like, you can watch it on the DVD.
so they said
But-
they said that, well, we figured it was kind of pointless for her to go off and not come back and fight. So, at the end of the day, we wanted her to get laid.
That was almost the exact words. It's all right. It's all right. Don't do it, damn it. Don't do it.
I would also like
That
to
was
point
almost
out,
the exact words from was Brett Ratner.
and a producer. I'd also like to point
Yeah.
out that these are the same people that cut out a lousy fucking 15 seconds
Oh.
from an extended fight scene
Oh.
where Logan is fighting the Juggernaut when Jean Grey is
Oh.
in the process of tearing apart Professor
Oh,
Xavier.
I have to jump in here
Be my
I'm,
guest.
I'm the action guy here.
Explain, set the scene. And we'll give you the reason why they chose to cut this 15-second scene out.
There's moments in the X3, whatever the fuck. It's Last Stand, whatever. Killing the franchise movie. there's scenes throughout the film where it's got its bells and whistles and the action's okay. All right, there are a few things out throughout the movie where we can enjoy out of just popcorn entertainment. It's in there, okay?
Yeah.
Not a lot, but it's in there. I always wondered when Juggernaut was fighting Logan, Juggernaut was beating the shit out of Wolverine. Like, he was kicking his ass all through the house, knocking him through the roof, and just whooping his ass. Now that comes to be expected, okay, because it's Juggernaut, okay?
And it's Wolverine. He always gets his ass
I'm the
kicked.
Juggernaut, bitch! Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Right? So, but by the end of the movie, I was kind of like, all right, we're going to have this rematch, right? Like Logan's going to fight Juggernaut now and get the upper hand. Nope, didn't happen at all. I was like, okay, well, maybe Colossus, he's finally transforming here and, actually fighting in an X-Men movie now, all right? The second one, he just kind of knocked the wall down. He knocked a few soldiers around, I think. So maybe they'll fight. Nope, that didn't happen. So Juggernaut got taken out by Kitty Pryde,
Yeah.
by Shadowcat, itty bitty Ellen Page, who was fine. Ellen Page was fine as the character of Kitty Pryde. I didn't mind her at all.
Once again, we were at the mercy of Dawson's Creek writing, where
Yeah.
oh no, Bobby's got a crush on Kitty now. What am I gonna do? I want to get laid. I'm gonna go get a cure. I don't need powers.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, back to the Logan.
You're
and
depressing me now.
Juggernaut. Yes.
So anyway, we were watching deleted scenes that were already done, special effects were done, everything was done, okay? But it was cut and chopped, all right? We came across deleted scenes, all right, with Juggernaut versus Logan. Same setup, same fight in the house, all that. They run at each other. They're brawling. Logan stabs Juggernaut's arm. You see the blades come out of Juggernaut's arm. Then they end up fighting in the house. Same fight sequence. And then all of a sudden, they got to do something with Juggernaut. They got to take him out because I always wondered what happened to Juggernaut, like in the movie. Like where did he go? Right. Well, Logan jumps up in the air. Wolverine, this is so fucking badass. Stabs Juggernaut in the neck. Right? Turns and yells to Storm, Storm! Storm does lightning blasts on Wolverine's claws, his whole body, and electrocutes Juggernaut, and Juggernaut passes out. This was all cut from the fucking movie because Brett Ratner said, well, this just comes a time where, action's just action, so that's why I cut it. Yeah. That's why he cut that scene. What was that, like 20 seconds?
It was literally a 15 to 20 second scene, and God forbid we actually get to see the goddamn mutants using their goddamn powers.
It was so fucking dope. They teamed up. They did a team maneuver. It was awesome. And he cut that because it just comes time where we got all this action in the movie. Action's just action. So that's why I cut it. And I was so pissed.
We can have Katie Pryde skating on the fucking ice that Bobby's just made for her after the funeral of Professor Xavier. But we can't have an actual action sequence that's actually visually appealing and makes sense and is actually fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I was fucking pissed because me, I'm the action guy. I love it. I was fucking pissed. And speaking about, it was bad enough. Was the scene shot well? And was the soundtrack amazing? The soundtrack is amazing. The score is amazing in X3.
If the actors could at least pull out their A game in this schlock, which they did, they really are the reasons to stay for the franchise and try to have patience. John Powell got brought in to do the score for this movie, and oh my God, I can't
really
even.
Good.
I can't imagine the movie without his score. I've listened to the score more than I've watched the film.
Yeah.
There's some amazing tracks he's given the Dark Phoenix and the whole drama. There's the two scenes in particular that he uses the same theme, and it gets more dramatic the second time he plays it. It's when Jean Grey's about to kill the professor, and at the very end where Logan's about to kill Jean, the music is just
Yeah.
it's
fantastic.
It's euphoric. It's
Yeah.
just I highly recommend if you've never even thought about it, buy the damn score.
Yeah.
Buy the score. Get the movie in a box set. Buy the score.
So Patrick Stewart, they killed him off, which was bad enough, and then they did some bullshit thing at the end after the end
They
credits.
had a setup where
That
you
was so
had
lame.
Moira McTaggart, I think, talking about how is it possible if you have a brain dead body, but the body's still alive? Could you transfer someone's consciousness into this body? And of course, by the end, if you have a little patience with the credits, I think it is.
Yeah.
You got that, and it was sad.
See
because
another guy with Patrick Stewart's voice.
You don't even really
basically.
see him, but
Yeah.
you hear his voice. It was sad because you got Ben Foster in this fucking movie.
Wasted Ben fucking Foster.
I know.
And what did he do? Check advertisements, check posters for this movie. You see Ben Foster with his wings out because he's playing Angel, okay? And he's got the X-Men uniform on. He didn't do shit in this movie.
He saved his daddy.
He didn't do nothing, but he's got wings now. And then at the end, I was like, okay, here he is. He's flying around at the end finale. X-Men versus the bad guys, all right? All right, he's going to finally do something and show his worth, right? No, he flew down, saved his dad, and left, and that was it. What the fuck is he doing in the X-Men uniform on the posters? Why? So waste of him. But anyway,
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart. Okay, it's fucked up. They killed him. Killed Cyclops. Killed Patrick. Oh, flip off the audience. Killed Cyclops. Killed Patrick Stewart.
Kill Jean Grey.
Killed Jean Grey on all three characters in the same movie. Okay,
Yeah.
but it wasn't just the fact that they just killed off Professor X. For some unexplained reason, Professor X was a fucking dick in this movie.
Yeah.
He
you
was
know,
not the same Charles.
And I always wondered
Like,
why.
why?
Why they did that.
He was
it-
an asshole
he was,
in this movie.
He was kind of short.
Yeah.
He was very.
I don't have to explain myself
Yeah,
to
it
you,
was
Logan.
Like, what are we trying to break our?
Where did this come from?
Are you trying to make us not have sympathy when you kill him later? It's like we. And the thing is, I can understand Xavier's character. He's always, so far in the cinema, been portrayed as this kind of benevolent leader who has to make these decisions and who's very, stalwart on his. No, we can't. We have to be better, and we have to show the humans that we're okay and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this time around, I mean, if it had been done a little more competently, maybe
Yeah.
it could have been interesting. Because I mean, if you think about it, he's done this thing to Jean Grey.
Yeah.
He's messed with her mind, and that's kind of fucked up. And maybe he was feeling guilty for it. I don't know, but this was just not the right hands to try anything like this
Yeah,
type of storytelling.
a slow progression. If the character was going to change, let's kind of show the journey.
Yeah, we've had no lead up to this.
No,
All of a sudden,
he was just a dick.
yeah, it was
Like from
oh,
right in the beginning of the movie.
yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Logan. So anyway, okay. Now a lot of people had issues with Beast. I actually thought what you call was perfect
I
for
like
Beast.
Kelsey Grammer as Beast. Is
I
an
thought he-
older Beast.
Yeah.
What are you gonna get to play? Is an older Beast? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was well casted as
Yeah,
Beast.
and
Now, in terms of Beast doing fight sequences in action,
you gotta get stunt double. Who cares?
I thought
Couldn't even
it
notice.
was fine.
It's fine. It's-
So that didn't really bother us. Like a lot of people hated. They hated him as Beast, and I was just
I don't
kind of like,
get
I don't know why. And then they all cheered when he came back. And X-Men Days of Future Past.
so
Sorry, spoilers. There's spoilers in this. Fuck it.
Well,
We're just now saying it now.
we're talking. It's a discussion of 16-year-old film plus.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, fuck it.
So and then of course Magneto gets the shaft by the end of it. He gets the cure injected into
Right.
him, and of course they try to do the whole, And that, again, that's
Moving
one
the
of those
chess
moments
piece.
where it's like, cheap move, fuck you. You fucked this whole goddamn franchise up, but that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Yeah. So
what are you gonna do?
what are you gonna do? So
So that
Yeah.
effectively killed the franchise for me.
yeah,
And at the time, there was really not a lot of talk about another film. The
No.
franchise was dead. Superman Returns came out, and that was a complete disaster. And then we started hearing things.
yes. Last Stand. We're gonna mention the franchise was dead to the fans, but it was a huge hit.
It was.
Let's not
oh,
beat around the bush
God,
here.
it made so
Last
much
Stand was huge.
fucking money. It's disgusting.
But then something happened in 2009. X-Men Origins Wolverine
I can't.
came out.
I can't.
The movie that no one asked for.
I can't.
Directed by Gavin Hood, I believe.
I can't.
He did some movie called Rendition. I don't really know that much about him, but
Hey,
before
hey,
the,
Gavin.
Good.
I hope your child is having fun in college
Yeah.
from the money that you made off of this movie. Seeing as that's why you made the movie, was to put your kid through college. Thanks
Yeah.
for the passion. It showed.
Yeah. That we're not joking around here. That was an actual quote from Gavin saying he basically only really did this movie to put his kid through college. Now, noble, fine, I'll put the kid through college, but don't tell people that. Bullshit us. Come on, like every other director does.
Maybe
I've been watching the
know,
cartoon.
maybe,
and I've been fan since the 70s.
Maybe he knew the movie was a pile of shit.
Maybe.
And that's why he wanted an excuse.
Well, he didn't fucking help.
So let's talk about the issues this movie had. It was leaked.
Yes. So before the movie came out, it's the unfinished
Oh,
cut,
which didn't matter.
which didn't matter, was released. And I remember a buddy of mine had a bootleg, and he showed it to me, and I watched it, and I was just kind of like, I wasn't really taking it seriously. Like, I was just kind of like, eh. And some of the shots were really horrible. Like, you can tell they weren't done. The special effects weren't done. But when it got to his claws,
Huh.
I was kind of like, oh, well, that looks like shit. I'm sure they'll fix that, once the movie's released. Nope. The claws still look like shit. How can the claws look worse in this than a movie that came out 9 years earlier? 9 years. So I don't understand. I don't know what happened.
The movie was a train wreck.
It was a train wreck.
And I wish I could say that it's so bad it's good.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time trying to swallow that mentality. And I'm usually like, shit, okay, give me goofy shit. But the problem is that
It is a guilty pleasure to some. Some people do like it.
the problem is that when you have a movie that comes straight out of the gate and it's a pile of shit like Gods of Egypt, okay, I can get behind something like that. There's no previous establishment. There is nothing great, and then we got that.
Right.
We had X1 and X2, and yeah, X3 was really heartbreaking, but then you get this come out. The Last Stand was like, okay, well, that sucked, but then you get this.
Yeah.
The Wolverine, the X-Men Origins Wolverine
Oh.
was like, what 5-year-old wrote and directed and put this together?
Yeah.
The whole story is just garbage. The cameos that they shoved into this was garbage. The terrible age, they youthened Patrick Stewart
Yeah,
at
that
the
was
end.
bad.
And fuck Deadpool!
Oh shit! That was the icing on the cake. Let's start with this. Let's start with what really gave us a lot of pain. Let's start with that first, and then Deadpool's when we wanted to throw something. Okay.
Oh.
So yeah, I actually didn't mind the beginning of the movie.
Oh.
I didn't mind him and his brother Sabretooth. Remember, they're brothers now. I know it's based off the comic. I got it, but I didn't really mind it that much. I'm like, okay, they're doing a different take on it. Fine.
That whole
The beginning
opening montage.
Yeah, I like the opening montage.
Best
When
part
they
of
were
the
in
film.
different wars and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people hated Leaf Schreiber. Okay, I like to call him Cheeks because that's all I see when I see him act. I should talk right. Anyway, I thought he was fine as Sabretooth.
If that's the direction you were going for, it was
But
fine.
just the way he was leaping around like an animal was so fucking
It was
bad.
too wired.
Why did they do that?
You
Why
gotta-
did they do that?
You can't.
And then the rapper from what's the fucking group?
God.
Ah, fuck. Anyway, We'll just leave it at that. The rapper from that fucking group who had the Nightcrawler abilities, who had a country accent, and he had to talk like this, you know, because that's how we talk. I wear a cowboy hat, and I got a country accent now. Yeah.
Okay.
He was useless. I'm sorry. Pain is returning, isn't it? Yes.
That's why I don't watch
yes,
this.
the pain is returning. Now, I didn't mind what you call as Gambit. Which is, I mean,
That
I thought
wasn't
it,
Gambit.
but
wasn't
I
Gambit.
mean,
Oh! I'm sorry. You want to know why Gambit didn't have black eyes with little red in the center?
shit, I forgot about this.
Because the producers that had already given us 3 X-Men films with blue people running around and people who can teleport and people who can use psychic abilities, they didn't think we could handle a character that constantly has black eyes with red in the center. They didn't think we could handle it. So
Yeah, this is real. This is real
Yeah.
talk.
That's what they think of
This
us.
is what they said
Yeah.
while making the movie. Yeah, so that's why Gambit has regular eyes in the movie. So yeah, they didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
They didn't care.
No, and they thought they had really great ideas, and they thought they were the shit with Deadpool. We're just gonna give them all these cool. We're gonna have, like you said, a 5-year-old, right? He's gonna have laser blasts. He's gonna be like Baraka from Mortal Kombat, and we're gonna have the adamantium blades come out of his elbows, and then he's gonna have flips, and he's gonna teleport. I mean,
And Ryan Reynolds is going to say 2 lines, which is going to irritate Hugh Jackman, and so they're going to sew his mouth shut later because he couldn't stop talking.
Yeah.
After 2 lines, couldn't stop talking.
Yeah, he barely said anything, and they were acting like he was so annoying. Wade,
Don't you ever shut up.
don't you ever shut up. Oh, what a mess. And the way Logan got his name.
It's okay. You came back. It's okay. It's okay.
The way Wolverine
you
got
and
his...
Ryan Reynolds were avenged.
Yes.
okay.
The way Wolverine got his name. Yeah, that was lame. And that character was lame. I don't even know her character. Generic mutant number 5.
Yeah, who was allegedly what is her Ice Queen? What's the Ice Queen's name? Emma Frost.
Emma Frost.
Emma Frost. That was her sister.
Yeah. Sure.
The Native American looking lady was the super pale white
Yeah, the
lady's
little love
sister.
interest for Logan. Yeah, generic mutant number 5 next. Emma Frost wasted, didn't give a shit.
And
Young Cyclops didn't give a shit.
Yeah, it's amazing how much not only did the people who made the movie not give a shit, but the franchise itself inevitably didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit because Emma Frost is seen in a different movie in
Yeah.
the very next installment of the X-Men franchise.
Yeah.
So clearly that didn't happen.
Yeah.
X-Men Origins didn't really happen. Sorry.
And he lost his memory. He lost Wolverine.
Adamantium bullet.
Wolverine lost his memory by being shot in the head by an adamantium bullet.
So an adamantium bullet couldn't kill him.
All writing. Script.
Even though it went into his brain, it couldn't kill him. But it made him lose his
It
memory.
just bounced off his adamantium cranium. But, come on, it makes sense. Comic book logic.
It's so bad.
Oh,
This is what
I'm getting exhausted.
I almost want to go watch this now.
I'm getting tired now. This is stressing me out, damn it.
Okay, so there was a light at the end of the tunnel after
Is
all
there?
of this bullshit. There
There's
was.
Taylor Kitsch.
There.
That's his name?
That's his name, but he wasn't the light at the end of the tunnel.
I know. I'm just saying he was okay as Gambit. You gotta pick, the
So despite
Corn
the
out
movie,
of shit.
despite the movie being terrible, and despite the movie being leaked, it still made money, but it wasn't considered a huge success.
But
so,
they blamed the leak, brother.
yeah, that's what it was.
It was the leak.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, sweet peas. Whatever helps you
Oh,
sleep at
God.
night in your $1 million mansion. It's fine.
I'm tearing up. I'm laughing too
So
hard.
we ended up getting news not too long after the Wolverine that they were rebooting the franchise. It's like,
Oh, we were hating it.
wait a minute.
We were like, boo,
and then it's set in the 60s.
boo.
Okay, now at this point I got it. He had to fill me in on what First Class was, and I'm like, I don't really care about
Yeah.
any of this. I mean, I was invested only so far as the films, and then that was it.
cartoon.
The cartoon. But the films were vastly different than the cartoon,
Well,
so
yeah.
it was like, my investment was done. I had the first 2 on DVD. I was good to go. And then, you start hearing that the movie's pretty damn decent. And so we gave it a shot. X-Men First Class comes out.
Before that, though, before
Oh.
you continue,
Oh,
photos again, reminiscent of the first X-Men. Photos were leaked, and we saw them in the suits, and we were like, "This is fucking shit."
yeah,
Who the fuck is this Michael Fassbender jobber? Who the fuck? Look at him. Look, he looks like a freaking dork nerd in that horrible
Yeah.
cosplay looking
Obviously.
Party City Magneto helmet. I mean, I was dogging these photos.
you see, we forgot that he was in 300.
Yeah,
Okay.
we didn't know that was the same actor.
And we knew who James McAvoy was from Wanted, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was really all we had
Yeah.
seen him in.
Mr. Tumnus.
And it was hard.
Sorry.
It was really hard to get interested in something where the outfits were looking pretty shitty.
You're looking cheap.
We were being given a list of actors who at the time were next to no-namers
Yeah.
and people that we weren't really that familiar with.
Yeah. Who the fuck is this Jennifer Lawrence chick?
Yeah. Had Matthew Vaughn done Kick-Ass already? Was that 2010?
He did do Kick-Ass.
Already?
Kick-Ass, Stardust, and Layer Cake were three of his main big ones.
No, and I liked Stardust. I love
Stardust is fun. It's a fun fantasy film.
It's actually underrated.
It's
I
underrated.
don't think enough people give that credit, and I adore Kick-Ass.
Oh, yeah.
And I think hearing he was attached to this was kind of like, okay, well, we might have to give this a shot.
Yeah.
But I was not expecting to end up getting the same emotional investment between James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender.
Mm-hmm.
How the hell do you strike lightning twice in a franchise like this with completely different casting? And yes, the movie's very cheap looking. The movie's incredibly low budget. I want to say it's in the $50 million range.
It is low budget.
Which
You could-
is
yeah.
and it screams low budget.
Yeah.
Some of the Emma Frost stuff is like,
Yeah.
Emma Frost herself was garbage.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't care who the actress is. I
Yeah.
don't care. I don't care if she's been in anything else. I don't care if she was good in
She was a
anything
big
else.
she was a big deal in Mad Men, but she looked lost
She
and
was-
just like, I'm here because
I have boobs.
yeah, that's
and
about
I'm
it.
blonde.
Yeah.
And I fit into the costume. And I'm fucking the director.
Yeah.
That was it. And it showed. And if
Yeah, it was-
anything,
she was
if
terrible.
anything really bad came out of it, I would say it was her performance and her
Yeah.
not giving a shit about anything. But I mean, it's not that her character was huge, but she was part of Kevin Bacon's brigade.
Who I enjoyed. I mean, he looked absolutely nothing like the comic book guy, but I had fun with his performance.
I was really happy.
I liked him in it.
I was really happy with the way the movie tried to be. Yes, it was a reboot, but it was also trying to be in the same vein of the already established franchise. The very beginning shot is a partial footage taken from the opening of X-Men, which starts with the scene from the Holocaust, and then it's reshot with new actors. And then you see what happens after Magneto, as a child in the concentration camps, pulls the fence trying to get back to his parents, and he gets knocked unconscious, and you see what happens after that. And they even use the same music cues that was Michael Kamen's score from that film. That was amazing, and that really helped me kind of settle down and be like,
Yeah.
wow, these people care. We just went from 2 movies of not giving a major fuck to, wait a minute, we're actually being serviced here. We're actually kind of being, groomed to accept this. And I thought it was also really interesting how, even though, okay, I'm just going to say this, I'm not a Jennifer Lawrence fan.
Yeah.
I didn't like her in this. I haven't liked her as Mystique. She's been serviceable at best. That's only my opinion. I get it. I'm in the minority. It's fine. But I didn't like her as this. But I was really interested how when she was trying to kind of get under Magneto's good graces,
Yeah.
she morphed into adult Rebecca Romaine
Yeah,
Mystique,
that was
and that
cool.
was really strange.
Yeah.
But it was like,
was
wow, this is weird. It's like it's a reboot, but it's also it's connecting the two. So.
Yeah.
That was the last thing I was expecting. Was
Great score again.
yeah, really
good soundtrack.
Really good soundtrack. I was not expecting to be given care and attention back to this
Yeah.
franchise when it seemed like they were done with it.
Yeah. Fassbender and McAvoy, man, killed it. And Fassbender was just... We immediately became Michael Fassbender fans by the end of that movie. We were just like... I mean, friends of ours saw the film, and they were like, before us, and they're like, just see it for Magneto Man. Just see it for Magneto Man. And, I mean, the fool levitates a knife and just stabs somebody else. I mean, he was so
Yeah.
fucking badass
And
in this movie.
he was given an amazing
Man.
theme in that in that film that never returned, sadly.
Yeah.
But what I was also really happy with the movie, it had a really good sense of humor.
Yeah.
The tone was really appropriate. The characters, the no-name first-class characters that they clamored together, they were actually really likable kids.
Yeah.
The story was there. You know, it wasn't slapping us in the face with stupidity like X-Men Origins did, and
Yeah.
it was just a good.
It just, yeah, it was cheap and low budget, but
Yeah.
it was done so well
With attention and care.
that it was like, it's okay, X-Men fans.
Yeah.
You know, we know about the last two movies.
Exactly.
It's all right. You know,
We can't give you
we
what
don't have
we
a big
had.
budget. We don't have a big budget
like,
blockbuster, but
yeah.
we have this.
We can't give you what you had because it's done and over with, but you know, here's
Yeah.
an idea you might want to sit on for a bit.
It made us fans just.
Yeah.
It made us do that. You know?
It was a nice breath of fresh air
Yeah,
in a
so
lot of
we
ways.
really were surprised by First Class, and no spoilers, no internet, no YouTube, nothing. We somehow did not get spoiled the Wolverine cameo, one of the greatest cameos ever in that, where Magneto and Professor X is searching for mutants to recruit, and they just come into this bar and they see Logan sitting there, and they don't even get a word out. Like, they just come straight to him, and he goes, "Go fuck yourselves." That's it. That's it. Done. Yeah. More badass in that one scene than he was in his whole fucking X-Men Origins movie. Anyway, back to X-Men Origins, okay? The whole Weapon X scene, that whole scene of him breaking out and escaping and all that shit, nobody fucking died. How does Wolverine, being turned into Weapon X, escape from the facility and not kill anyone? He just ran out. I guess there were no other soldiers. I know one guy shot him and he shrugged it off. I'm sorry. Sorry, I had to go back to fucking X-Men Origins.
It's a PG-13 franchise.
Oh, so what? Killed somebody.
Hey,
Fuck.
there was one good thing to come out of X-Men Origins: Wolverine, the video game,
Yeah, what the fuck?
the mature-rated video
Yeah,
game.
X-Men Origins, the video game, usually video games, 80% of the time, video games based off films always suck. This was awesome. It was so violent.
I actually played the
It was
demo.
so cool.
He downloaded the demo, and I actually played it before he got a chance to. I played the first. I played the first. I think it was like the first level.
Yeah.
That's what the demo gave you. And he came home from work, and I said, "I am more disgusted with X-Men Origins, the film, than I have ever been.
Yeah.
The demo disgusted me
Yes.
with how good
Yeah.
it actually was.
Yeah, so
and violent.
Yeah, the game.
More
we
balls.
got a good game out of it for PS3.
So, speaking of
Moving on.
Wolverine, speaking of our lovely, lovely
Moving
Wolverine.
on. We're running out of
So
time.
we-
We're running out of time, but
Yeah, so-
we're moving on.
So we started to hear whispers of another Wolverine film. Now the good news was it was not going to be directed by the same guy. The bad news was it seemed to be stuck in development hell, and it kept passing on to different directors and different writers, and it was like, I don't like where this is going. Anytime you hear something like that, it's not good news. And then they said, oh, well, he's going to be in Japan this time. Well, that's great, but that doesn't mean jack shit if you don't have the writing and the directing to back it up. So, and then you start hearing, oh, well, Hideyuki Sanada's in it. What?
Yeah.
What? Shit.
Henry Sonata's a badass.
So you hear that, and they're actually casting the majority. It's Japanese casting.
Yeah.
It's actually Asian casting in a Hollywood film. They're actually going to Japan, and they're mostly employing Asian actors. What the fuck, Hollywood?
Loosely based off of the Frank Miller work.
So, again,
2013, I believe.
yeah,
The movie
again,
came out. Directed by James Mangold, who did 310 to Yuma, Walk the Line. So he had some good movies under his belt.
and I hope he brought a tuba lube for the ass raping he got in the studio, taking control and just pulling a number on this movie. And I gotta tell you, there are a few films out there that
Man.
confound me and frustrate the living hell out of me. And this is one of my top choices of movies that just pissed me off because there was so much that they did right in this
Yeah.
movie. Right out of the gate, we are shown 1940s Japan. The war is about to be over. We're in a Japanese prisoner of war camp, and they're letting all the prisoners of war out because the bomb's on its way. You've got Logan, who's been imprisoned in this kind of like trench, or not trench, but like a pit with his cover over it because they can't kill him. They don't know what to do with him anymore. They just let him sit there. And all of a sudden, you see a B-29 fly over. And if you know your history, you know what that means. The A-bomb is on its way. And my brain is going, we're not going there in a comic book film. We're seriously starting off a comic book film with an A-bomb, with a reference to that event in history. And I'm like, whoa, we are going dark. Wow. Nice. That's crazy, okay? And you get the really interesting imagery of, the guy that goes to let him out.
Yeah.
And Logan shields him with the
from the blast.
Yeah, and you see Logan basically take the blast and he's on fire. His skin is, burning away. His hair is gone. And then you see everything start to slowly grow back. And that was really interesting. That's a really crazy way to start off the film. And then we're given these moments spread throughout. Like soon after that, you get the first moment, and then spread throughout the movie, you get these moments where Logan keeps having these dreams where he's in bed or in a bedroom with Jean Grey. Now, remember, he has just killed Jean Grey from X3, and that's the woman that he loves, of course, Jean. And so in a lot of ways, this movie is more like a sequel to X3, which is like, okay, I hate what X3 did to the franchise, but I'm willing to see where this story is going. Mm-hmm. And I was given my second just amazing surprise when I realized Jean Grey is Logan's subconscious, and it's fucking with him, trying to get him to kill himself because of his guilt. This is a goddamn comic book movie we're talking about, and I was loving every single moment with all of these psychological scenarios and this subconscious subplot that they had going on with the film. That was like, I was so on board with that. And then we were given goofy Russian blonde lady.
Whatever she was. With the green outfit and the tongue.
Was she a lizard? What the fuck was she?
Yeah, we're not going to get into that because that's more comic book stuff.
But
we're running out of time.
The problem was that it ruined the tone of the film.
It did.
Her and what ended up being the Silver Samurai.
Yeah.
Not really. And the hokey love story. I know, I get it. That's all supposed to go down in the comics, but with the way the two, it just didn't feel.
It was kind of forced. It seemed forced.
It didn't feel organic.
Yeah, it seemed forced. They got together because in the comic book they got together, basically. But I enjoyed what you call more than Mariko. I enjoyed Yuriko.
Yeah, the little goofy alien lady. She looks like little alien.
She's a little badass with her katana. I wanted to see a movie with just them two going out
and it was
on adventures.
And what was really sad was that despite everything, their relationship was actually fun to watch.
Yeah.
And the movie had it had taken something that was really good and psychological and dark and something you don't get in comic book films, and it just pissed it down its leg because the studios panicked and they thought, oh, well, this isn't going to make any money, but you kind of shat on your own product there, and
it screamed studio interference.
It
did because the whole movie had this dark, serious tone. There wasn't really that much action, but the action that was there was well done. The train fight was fun, but it was like literally with the last 20 minutes of the film.
It was Fantastic Four.
It was like they freaked out. And it was like, oh, this movie's too serious. It's too slow paced. There's got to be more action in this. What do we do? All right, let's put the old man that Wolverine saved at the beginning of the movie. Let's put him in a robotic samurai-looking thing and call it Silver Samurai and give it some magic sword-looking whatever the fuck that was, and let's make the suit animanium.
And have the ability to suck out his animanium.
What?
Which is now connected with his healing factor.
Yeah,
somehow.
When did that fucking happen?
Maybe
that was
that's
so stupid.
A retro comic thing. I don't know.
Oh.
So, by the end of the movie, Logan's back to Bone Claws.
They just took a big dump. They just took a big dump. Right after the ninja fight, after Logan fights the ninja fight. Now, if you watch the director's cut of this film, there is more action there. There is a little bit more blood.
Yeah.
Logan does say fuck more. So if you have to watch this film, we prefer you watch the director's cut. But right after the ninja battle, man, everything just went... He took a big dump. I mean, It was almost like two different movies. Like James Mangold left, some Brett Ratner came in,
Yeah.
and with Kevin Hood, and directed the last 20 minutes because it was, whoa, all right.
It was
Where are we going?
It was very unfortunate, and it was. I was frustrated the very first time I saw it, and
Yeah.
I knew something was horribly wrong. And as much
It's
as
a shame.
I loved half of the film, and the rest of it was just a big old shit heap. And I have a love-hate relationship with this movie
Yeah.
because of it.
Another good soundtrack.
And yeah,
Throwing something in there, positive.
yeah, we got another composer again with
Yeah.
Marco Beltrami, and
he's good.
and so of course by the end of the film we're given
Aha.
a set of cameos. And
credits.
Yeah, and now at this point we already knew that Days of Future Past was going to come out, and we knew that Bryan Singer was returning, and I didn't know what to make of it, having heard the backstory behind what Days of Future Past was. It sounded like a train wreck.
It
The
did.
whole thing, I didn't think they were going to be able to pull it off, and
It sounded like a mess.
I do have to say that in 2011, getting to see Magneto and Professor Xavier again side by side, the two old school guys, it was really nice. Even though it made absolutely no sense that Patrick Stewart was alive and well again, even though they just threw they threw the line away with, "Didn't I tell you before? You're not the only one with gifts." Okay, all
Yeah.
is forgiven. He's alive. Yeah,
he's
we
alive.
don't care. He's alive. And Magneto's got his powers back, of course.
Yep.
What I do find the most interesting about X-Men, the Wolverine, not X-Men Origins, the Wolverine, but the Wolverine, is that by the end of the film, with the setup of Days of Future Past, the very last moments of the film with Magneto and the Professor are basically telling you, you just wasted the last 2 hours of your life.
Yeah.
Because this movie is not going to exist by the time we are done with you.
Yeah.
So
So it was cool. It was a cool scene, but if you stop and think about it, now everything that you just
happened,
watched
none of it matters.
is gone now.
So if you
Never-
watch,
didn't happen.
If you watch it in like a chronological order, it's okay. It's almost like a Star Trek with, you know,
Right.
Spock going back in time. Well, the timeline still happened, but now it's an alternate timeline. Well, we are in an alternate timeline as of now. Because the very next year, we were given Days of Future Past, which effectively changes everything. In my opinion, the greatest franchise and cinematic apology ever.
Oh yeah.
I was first of all, again, the opening credits hit and we get to hear John Ottman's score come back and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck it, I like
Fuck
it.
Yeah.
And the first 10 minutes of the movie, we are given one of the greatest superhero mutant action sequences. I mean, we've never seen the mutants behave in such a manner because it's
Yeah.
been so stifled and so grounded in reality. They said, fuck it!
Yeah.
We are going into the future. We are going to have characters that you know nothing about and you're not going to care because you're going to love them because they're going to be cool. And by
Yeah.
God, they were right.
All the team maneuvers, man. It was so fucking awesome, man. We never really seen any of that in the
No.
previous films. Because it got cut, because action's just fucking action. Fucking Ratner. Shit. Anyway, the special effects were great. The acting, the performances from
The
old school
score.
to new school.
Ottman,
Great.
where the fuck were you keeping that score?
Yeah, soundtrack was great.
Amazing. Professor Xavier's theme.
Action scenes were great.
Oh my God, was amazing.
Oh, it was fantastic.
The story, I had never seen such a potential train wreck veered into the right direction. Everything made sense. Even the whole reason why Kitty Pryde couldn't go back, because I believe she was the one that went back in time.
Right.
And why it had to be Logan. They retconned the story
Yeah.
for the purposes of the film, and it made sense. It was perfectly acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've seen the road cut,
Yeah.
and it is a very interesting
It's
way to watch
interesting.
the film.
Yeah.
It just pads a lot more in that you probably didn't really need. It's interesting to watch them both within just, you know, by like one day watch it and then the next day watch the road cut just to see the comparisons of the two. I don't think the road cut is any better.
No.
But I feel
The
like
pacing's off.
it is very strange.
But it's
because-
still worth watching.
yeah, it's just for comparison purposes to see where they were going originally. You got Peter Dinklage as the creator of the Sentinels, which I found really adorable and
Just the acting. Jennifer Lawrence was fine. It was cool seeing her kind of fight like Mystique, you know, from the previous movies. But
once again,
everything, man, everybody else was just phenomenal.
a beautiful blending of the two franchises.
Yeah.
We had just this perfection blend of what worked in First Class, what worked in the first two X-Men films. We even got this really quick scene. If you're not paying attention, you're not going to know what it is, where you see Jennifer Lawrence flipping through these files, and you find out that her friends from the first movie, what was it, Angel?
Everybody
and,
everybody fucking died.
Yeah, they
Azazel,
except for Havoc. He's
Emma
still-
Frost.
Yeah, they find out. I think
Some
they
others.
throw. But yeah,
Yeah.
Angel, and you see photos of their autopsies, and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
we're still giving a shit here. What were the odds?
Yeah, and Quicksilver. Got to talk about Quicksilver, man.
The reason, the one and only time Marvel shit themselves,
Yeah,
because somebody else did it better.
yeah. Somebody
Sorry.
else did it better.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was great. It's a wonderful surprise.
Oh.
He was fun. Can't wait to see what they have for him in this next movie.
Yeah.
So overall, we just, man, were really blown away and was very surprised by Days of Futures Past. Just overall, everything was just fantastic.
And it
Everything was really good. And at the end, the ending was just great. Logan come back to his time. And
I had the briefest of moments where Logan wakes up and he's in the mansion and he gets to see Xavier, and Xavier's alive, because by the end of the film, everybody's pretty much,
Right.
dead. And I had this moment where I'm like, can we see Jean again? And maybe Scott, because we just rewrote the timeline, and what do you turn around and there's Jean. And what I thought was really crazy.
And Beast.
Everybody's great. Everybody. It was so nice seeing Scott and Jean again. Their dynamic. Scott taking shots at Logan. But what I thought was really interesting was they used a line from the Wolverine, where Jean and Logan kept having these conversations, and Logan would say, "You're here," and Jean would say, well, "Where else would I be?" And they said that in Days of Future Past. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
oh my
missed
God.
that.
Yeah, you just erased the Wolverine, but at the same time, I see what you did there, you tricky motherfuckers.
I couldn't believe I was happy to see fucking Cyclops. I was like, hey.
And in the theatrical cut,
I
you
was
get to
happy.
see Rogue at the very end.
Yeah.
And it actually, if you watch it chronologically now, it actually, for me, helps me watch X3.
Yeah.
It actually makes me forgive X3 because, yeah, it happened, but then this happened, and now we're in a different era. And it's like, thank you.
Yeah.
I can watch that travesty now without, nobody's
we
going
can
to salvage.
get through it.
Yeah, and no one's ever going to salvage Origins for me, but
No.
I can
Yeah.
actually watch that movie without getting angry. For the longest time, that movie left me angry with this
Yeah.
pit in my stomach of just, oh, fuck you.
Days of Future Past really eased the pain.
It eased it.
It brought
healed.
hope back. It brought dignity.
did. It did.
brought dignity back.
It healed the wounds, and
Yeah.
it's easy to watch everything now.
Okay, now we have our Days of Futures Past.
Yeah.
Now, what are the problems now we have this new movie, X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay.
What are the problems now?
Well,
what were your issues?
My personal opinion was I wanted it to end with Days of Future Past, primarily because we've seen the future now. We have seen at this point in time where Logan wakes up. Mostly everybody we've seen, with the exception of Mystique and Magneto. We don't know anything about what's happened to them. But we see Jean Grey, we've seen Cyclops, we've seen, Beast, we've seen all these people. And Storm. And my biggest problem is that this movie, Apocalypse, which I've read very little on, I've only heard some of the damning reviews, but I don't care about that. This movie's set in the 80s. You have the first mutant, who is the most powerful mutant,
Right.
coming to pose a threat to the X-Men, who are a very young team now. You've got, a lot of kids in the mansion now. What stakes could there possibly be for any of
Right.
these characters when we have seen most of them, if not all of them, alive in Days of Future Past?
Yeah.
The future is fine. We have some nice little technology going on. You see the alarm clock with the little globe spinning at the end of Days of Future Past when Logan wakes up. Nothing is in shambles. The mansion is still standing. Xavier's still alive. Everybody's still fine.
Yeah.
What could they possibly go through that is impactful and meaningful?
Because we know everything's gonna be fine.
I hope this
Because
movie
of Days
proves
of
me
Futures
wrong.
Past.
I hope it proves me wrong.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of shit, but
I just want it to be. I mean, it's a good point to bring up. It's like, why should we care about these young Jean Grey? Why should we care about young Cyclops when we know, because of Days of Futures Past ending, they're gonna be perfectly
and the
fine.
world is fine. The
world
world
is
is perfectly
fine.
fine.
So
we'll see.
You know, I don't mind it being in the '80s. You know, Bryan Singer returning. I'm sure it'll at least be entertaining, be well made. But we will find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit later today, we're actually going to go see the movie, so stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun.
We will be posting a non-spoiler review of X-Men Apocalypse over the weekend. And was there anything else you want to go over besides...
Oh, I think we've said enough.
said enough.
Sorry.
No, it's fun. It's a discussion. You know, we're all good here. We're having fun being nostalgic about X-Men because they're fucking badass, man.
Yeah.
We love them. So, stay tuned. Sorry. Stay tuned. And thank you guys for watching again. Uh-oh. You guys rock. We'll see you guys next time.